So, it's been 7 years since Overwatch's initial release date, and you're still lingering in the bottom ranks. It's time to give up. Well, not quite, because Overwatch is like having Stockholm Syndrome, you just keep coming back. But it's time to give up on having fun, playing DPS and support heroes, and convert to playing tank.
Monsieur, does this mean Overwatch is back?
What can I say? Being in bronze and silver is the equivalent of being bagged up and sent off to an American black site, but not to be killed, just left to suffer a brain-numbing existence. Apart from having a lack of control over their fingers, players in these ranks make some common and very basic mistakes. One of these very common mistakes tends to be standing in choke and not doing a whole lot else. Standing there, getting shot and farmed repeatedly. This is where playing tank comes in. You get into the lobby and you insta-lock Reinhardt. He has a shield. This allows you to get your team through the choke point alive. So that's step 1 complete. You've got through the choke point without dying. People in these ranks tend to see the big rectangle man and follow him through the choke point. So as long as you're going to be somewhat aggressive in getting through, your team should come with you. But remember, this isn't me telling you to turbo int and charge through the choke point. The whole point of playing Rhine in these ranks is the shield and damage mitigation. Don't go flying through the choke point, you're going to die, your team are going to mould and you're going to stay in silver. There are 3 main points when playing Rhine at lower ranks to help you get to the promised land that is gold. Number 1 being shield weaving. You're a 600 HP giant with armor to spare, so don't be afraid to take damage. Now I understand getting healing at this level is less likely than Philip Schofield of being it, but 600 HP alongside 1200 HP worth of barrier is enough to get the job done. Number 2 is don't be afraid to solo shatter, especially supports or particularly low tank to secure the fight. Shatter charges unbelievably fast and you'll have it back as soon as you want. Alongside this, to hit smaller hitbox characters after shatter through bigger ones such as Orisa, make sure to crouch as you throw your fire strike. Thirdly, I know this sounds obvious, but you need to die less. If you're racking up double figure deaths in a ranked game, that's a whole lot of time your team is either going to get farmed because there's no shield there, or you won't be able to make any sort of impact or progress into the other team. Also, think about natural cover you can hide behind before committing into the fight. It saves your healers actually have to look around and click on your face. And just add on an extra point, don't DC or leave any games. Obviously if your internet gives up, there's nothing you can really do. But if you leave, it's going to mess you up for the entire season. Blizzards are cracking down on these things. I don't know why they should be cracking down on other things, but you know what I'm saying. On the topic of Blizzard, there's only one thing worse than working in a Blizzard office, and that's playing Overwatch in Platinum Gold. When you hit this rank, you'll notice that not just your badge has changed. The people you play with in these lobbies are significantly better than the ones previous. They now understand a little bit more about the game, but more importantly, you realise that there's more god complexes than the BBC in the 80s. Golds and Plats are pretty similar in nature and how they play the game. Plats, also known as Lucky Golds, are now starting to understand more advanced concepts such as synergies between characters and how to play certain compositions. Around these ranks, you might start to realise that characters such as Anna are starting to get a lot more use as people are starting to be able to use their fingers to aim and not trying to smash their head against the controller and hope that they win the game. Instead of watching Genjis fly into the air, smash Y and solo blade nothing, you might start to see Nano Blades come out now, trying to combo abilities to get kills instead of trying to get your Reddit and TikTok clips. Unfortunately for you, this means you're going to have to understand what all the different abilities do and how they work together to get the win. Thankfully now you're all converted to tank mains, so we can just focus on the one that we like to play the most, Reinhardt. We're going to stick with Reinhardt because the same principles apply. Low skill floor. He's fairly easy to play, he can get a lot of value out of his abilities without actually having too much effort put behind them. Although at this rank you'll be able to play Reinhardt pretty much all the way through Gold and Plat, this is due to most players at this rank not knowing how to comprehensively and effectively beat Reinhardt, as he's such a staple of pretty much every comp in the rank. With this being said, you should still try and have your team pick around you, maybe with an Anna, This is as a nano Ryan is still very effective, especially with the death of Lucio and no one really playing him anymore. They won't be able to speed away for you, can get a lot of damage done if you're going to be kept up by your supports. When you're sat in voice chat, telling your team who to play, calling your GM level strats, this is who you should be asking for in your support line. You want an Anna, obviously for the nano boost that we've previously talked about. Lucio, if you want to play an old style rush comp, a little bit like Goat, obviously nowhere near as good, but you can still get away with it in gold, as long as you have a good second healer. Kiriko, because Suzu allows you to go crazy mode, and go in and still get out and get a second chance, extra aggression, more shatters. And of course Mercy. Mercy's brilliant at these ranks. When people are inting and losing lives left, right and centre, World War II style, Res is the ultimate tool to get you back into the game. If you can, make sure you can ask for a Mercy. There you go, there's my quick guide on there's my quick guide on how to get out of the lower level ranks in Overwatch. Obviously these aren't like completely GM meta strats. You wouldn't really want to be playing Reinhardt one trick in at GM or anywhere really above High Masters level, but these tips are a good foundation when used and put more time in and developed on. You're definitely going to be able to get out of the metal ranks and start to climb higher up the Overwatch ladder.